Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. And if this is your first time on this channel, I just want to say thank you and welcome. And if you've been here before and you're coming again to see what I have to give, and I say thank you again once again and you're welcome. And I promise that you're going to learn something very great from this one. Right, so during the week I promised I made a video actually on when I took a trade and how it went and everything. So I promised I was going to make a breakdown of those trades. I had like 3 setups in those trades, and I took just 2 out of those 2 setups. I missed one, and that's just it. One of these things, you're gonna miss trades sometimes. Sometimes it might be based on so many things, different things you get. For me, for that day, I didn't wake up early. You understand? It was London session trade, so I didn't wake up on time to actually check my trade. Actually, I once London session, I'm always very careful. Though I always have this London rush that I want to see price do something in the morning once the market is just opening. Do you understand? There's always this movement, and you're going to see it with most when you keep coming back to see most of my trades. You're going to see those things. And what's the benefit of me sharing this? It's not for me to brag or anything. It's I wish I had something like this genuine when I was learning how to trade. Do you understand? I wish I could see something this genuine. You understand? Because everybody just wants to collect money, even if with something that is not really that genuine. They just want to take your money and promise you what they can't even give. I'm here to promise you that you're not going to be confused if you see the way I see the market. Do you get? So now let's dive in, and from there you can see if maybe what I have is confusing for you, or maybe it's very easy for you to get. All right, let's go in. Yeah. So basically, I actually trade just not just okay. Let me show you the pairs that I trade. I trade Euro USD, AD USD, USD CHF. Those are the 3 pairs I actually focus on. I try not to focus on too much because why I trade the lower time frame. I trade 1 minute time frame, 5 minute time frames, and sometimes I can take 15 minutes time frame entries. Do you understand? But most of the time, I take my entries from 5 minute and 1 minute time frame. So, and on the previous video where I was actually sharing this, I think I explained about the highs and lows, intermediate term highs, and long-term highs, short-term highs, session-term highs. I don't know if I explained that, or maybe I will do a separate video on all these things. So these are the things I actually look out for. Okay, now so let's dive in on how I break my charts from top-down analysis, right? So I'm going to start. I usually start from weekly time frame, but most of the times I also dive into the monthly time frame to see the overall picture. Yeah, I know I take trades from 1 minute time frame, but you will see how I derive to on that. Okay. So now what am I seeing on um on weekly time frame here? Now this yellow light, like if you see, you can see different colors of zones. So those colors of zones represent the different time frame of where I'm finding those zones. Okay. So that is why I want those zones to be colored so that I'll be aware, because once I'm in my lower time frame, I hardly come back to my weekly time frame. Yes, I come to my daily time frame. Most of the time I stop at my 4 hour time frame. Do you get 4 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour? Once I'm done with my higher time frame, like the daily and the weekly, I hardly come back to those time frames. I move from 1 hour, 4 hour, 1 hour, 4 hour, then I just stick to 15 minutes most of the time. Right. So what can we see right here? I explained something. I think I'll just quickly explain that again. So what kind of trader am I? I'm a liquidity trader. So I hunt for low resistance on. So once we're on an uptrend, I want to see a low resistance run like this. Why is this called a low resistance run? Because like I said, this low is higher than this low. So this low did not take out this low. Had it been this low took out this low, then price really don't have any reason to come back up here for now, until maybe we took out, if we have a low resistance run on the lower side, then before price can come there, it might likely to come and take out this one before going there. Do you understand? So these are the things I would explain more. Now, what am I saying right here? And actually, before I take a trade, if this has to happen like this, then I want to keep selling into the next one. But if this hasn't happened and it's like something like this, then I want to trade into it. So for me, this is a displacement. This is a low liquidity run. Then those are the 2 things that I actually look out for. Now, what is actually happening here? Firstly, I have this liquidity right here. I had this liquidity right here that I was looking out for. That so when all this price was coming up, tapped into this monthly fair value gap, I was already timing this zone here, but you can see that it didn't actually take everything. It just took out this. But I was timing this high. I was timing this. This is another block. If I look at my 1 month time frame, this is another block, but I don't want to really go up there anymore. So, but when price tapped into here, right? If we were supposed to keep going up, there's one thing that's going to happen. I look for the draw on liquidity. So since this was a draw on liquidity, I wanted to see price what riding into that zone around their point there. So, but what happened as price was going, right? We left an inducement here. So leaving this inducement here, I was expecting price to come back anytime soon. But since we were still trading above this monthly fair value gap, I still wanted to see price go higher. So you can see why price tapped into this zone here, broke the structure, right? And we kept flying to the upside, left this 1 hour, well, sorry, 1 week fair value gap right here imbalance. Price came back into that imbalance, tapped into it, use that imbalance. Now, once I'm talking about fair value gap, this is how I see my fair value gap, and I would love you to also try to picture your fair value gap that same way. Fair value gap has a job to do, right? What is the job of a fair value gap? Let me draw it out for you. What is the job of a fair value gap? Now, if I come down to this place and explain ICT 2022 concept, what does it mean? ICT 2022 concept simply says that you want to see a sweep, a displacement, an imbalance around here. That is the fair value gap. Price comes to tap into that imbalance. What is that imbalance? What's the job of that imbalance? Is to take out this high, take out that high, leave another imbalance, come to, but this high that it took out now, this is a short-term high. So most of the time, because price does not want you to keep chasing just tracking price, it will take out this low. Because he knows you're somewhere around here, it will take out this low. That will now be a sweep, another sweep, a displacement, a short-term high, right? There's a displacement here, that means we want to keep going high. But before we go high, most of the time price will come to sweep this low, which will now be what? A sweep again. And since this low is sweeping this low, right, breaking above this low, that makes this low an intermediate low. That makes this low a short-term low. That makes this low an intermediate low. So your intermediate term low are your protected lows. Those are the lows that you don't want to see price come to until maybe it has taken this high. So now if price comes to take this low, I don't want to see price come back down here until this high has been taken. Same thing with this one. Once we broke this structure here, took out this low, sweep, this is now an intermediate term low. I don't want to see price come back here again. So if I'm buying somewhere here, this is where my stop loss is going to be. Price does not need to come back here until we take out this low. So now let's use that concept to go into the chart. What happened right here now when price took out this high right here? We displace around this point. That means every fair value gap that price has displaced, I want to see price come back into that fair value gap, and that fair value gap will act like something like we all know support and break and retest. So just use that in your head. Like this is like a break and retest. Want to see price break it, come back, test it, and keep going down. Now, if we're going down, what am I seeing based on my style of trading? I was already looking at this. And this is where I want to see price run to. So when I was even taking this trade, I would have held it here, but that's not how I trade. I don't hold my trades more than 2 days, more than 1 day. Do you understand? I'm just a short-term trader. So I come in and out, come in and out, come in and out. So around this point, I already have a bearish market. So my bias was to sell. From there, I was in daily time frame. Now you can see how when I came to daily time frame, you can see more zones right here. But if I go higher time frame, you're not going to see that zone. So that's how I set it. So on that note, when price was trading below here, right, on this time frame, what happened on 1 hour time frame when price was trying to, now price have closed below here, leaving this weekly fair value gap here and another weekly fair value gap here. Do you understand? Now I want to see price drive into that point. Do you understand? Now as price is driving into that point, what did he leave here? Whenever you see price retracing, I want you to take note of this. Whenever you see we're on a downtrend and you see price retracing and didn't take out this low before going up, display this low, right? And came to take out this short-term low here and displays back below it, just know that we're coming for these lows right here. Do you understand? So that's how I trade. So what happened here, if I look at this point here, I can see that, okay, this was a sweep. Look at this high here, right? If I could draw this out, okay. Look at this high right here. That was a sweep. Price failed to close, to displace above it. What do I mean by price failed to displace above it? It means not just closing above it, right? But closing above it and leaving a fair value gap there. Once it leaves the fair value gap, then that is a sign for me that price will keep going high. So you see that as we keep going. So what the price do? It displays there. Sorry, it took out that high and displaced below this low right here. Displacing below this low, what did it do? We have this daily fair value gap here, right? I was saying price disrespect. So now, what is price telling me now? This is where I start reading the fair value gap, because the fair value gap is one of the reasons that made price to move. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but just go and check it on your chart, and I'll say explain it to you as I'm going. So this fair value gap that price broke right here and respected this. So now this is a bearish fair value gap. This is a bullish fair value gap. A bearish fair value gap is supposed to see price going lower. A bullish fair value gap is supposed to see price going higher. So now, as you're looking at the chart, what are you seeing? You're currently seeing that price is respecting the one that is pushing price lower and disrespecting the one that is pushing price higher. That is what you need. Do you get me? That is what you need first for a buyers. That's how I get my buyers. Do you understand? So anything retracing, I'm trying to look for how I'm going to sell the market. So around this point here, when price retraces, you can see this entry here. If I go down to my lower time frame, you see how I was able to continue taking the trade going lower. So around that point there, I went down to my 4-hour time frame. Now you can see how I'm coming with the context. Now, even if I want to buy, I know I'm buying to. I'm either buying into a short-term PDRA for a retracement leg to a continuation that will give me a continuation. Because if you look at the market, you want to see the first thing you want to tell yourself, you don't want to deceive yourself based on because of maybe WAV zones here, you're waiting for price to come there. No, what you want to do is you want to see how does the market move. Like, just look at the market, pause, take a pause, clear everything from your chart. Look at the market, how it's going on a downtrend and how it's going on an uptrend. You will see that normally price doesn't go on a straight line. It will go, it will retrace, it will go down, it will retrace, it will go down, it will retrace. That's how we have derived on a downtrend. And you cannot know which one is the low. So me, I don't try to catch the low. I only trade continuations. Do you get? So I only try to catch a retracement. You see how I'm going to derive at that retracement. So what happened here now, right? On this time frame, you can see price on 4-hour time frame, things becomes more clearer than the bigger time frame. So my bigger time frame, I use it for my buyers. My 4-hour time frame and 1-hour time frame, I use it to look out for liquidities, for price to take out liquidities, short-term highs, and all those. I want to see my intermediate term highs around that 4-hour time frame to 1-hour time frame, even down to my 15 minutes time frame, because I also classify that as my higher time frame PDRE, because why I'm taking trades on 1 minute, 5-minute time frame. So those from 15 minutes, 4-hour, 1 hour, they're my higher time frame PDREs. All right. So what happened here was that price also, I can see that price displaced here. Price took out this low and displaced below, left this fair value gap here, right? Left another fair value gap here. Now there's what is called breakaway gap. So now, what is a breakaway gap? A breakaway gap is a fair value gap that price shouldn't come to until it has gone to take out maybe liquidity or something before it can actually come back there, and it might not even come back there anymore. Do you understand? So having that in mind, that means price created this first fair value gap there. Price didn't tap into it, but it created another one. So that means this one is a breakaway gap. Then I'm going to use this one for my entry. So price got to that point. That was where I took an entry around that zone. I think, let me see. This one was last week entry. Let me not even talk about this because this was last week entry. I think I've explained that already on my previous video. I'm talking about this week entry. This week entry was this 2 trade that we saw here. So what happened on 4-hour time frame on this 2 trade? I saw price after breaking this, it left this fair value gap here, and you can see that there's a daily fair value gap there also colliding with that. Now let me go to my daily time frame. Now on my daily time frame, what did you see? You can see how price just wicked. Like, what else do you need? Like, what kind of explanation do you need again? Price wicked into it, and the next thing was voila. I was asked, no, you know, when price was here, that was my drawn liquidity. I was targeting that to be my drawn liquidity. But also, and I want to look at this also. Look at this. This is a previous day high. Where I see my PY, my point of interest is I want to see like previous day high, previous day low, fair value gaps, liquidity, short-term high, short-term lows, you know, all those kind of things, session highs and session lows. Those are the places that you can see price turn around from. You understand? So when price was getting here, I was already trying to buy that trade on the lower time frame. But before I buy, will I just buy? Now, if you look at this leg, did you see any fair value gap aside from this one? No. This was the only 4-hour fair value gap that we're seeing. And price has traded down up to this point. So now if I was waiting for price to start forming 4 hour fair value gap to break, I might not even see an entry. So that's why you need to refine your trade down to lower time frame. Now on lower time frame, what did I see? I was monitoring price. Now this was the first trade I spotted during the week that I missed. This one here, I didn't take this trade. I will go. I will explain from here going down. So what was happening? That price was falling. We're having a deep. We're having a strong downtrend, and price keep creating, expecting bearish PDRs. I'm disrespecting bullish PDRs. Around this point, I have this 1 hour fair value gap here. You see how price came to wick into this 1 hour fair value gap. That was not the main thing. Now, when price was there, I was on my 15 minutes time frame. And what was I seeing there? I had this swing, right? So I also make use of my swing low, swing high. But you need to know when price is going to come into a swing into discount or premium. It's not all the time price is going to come into discount or premium. If you're always waiting for that, then I'm sorry, you're going to miss a lot of trades, right? So now you can see that this from this line here, this is 3 o'clock New York open. That is when London, sorry, 3 o'clock New York time. So this is when, I'm sorry I'm talking too fast. So this is when London session opens, right? So around that point, what happened? This is the fast run that I'm talking about London session. Price was retracing. Remember what I talk about retracement? Once price is retracing and it leaves a low liquidity run below price, just know that that retracement is to take out liquidity and come back. Do you understand? So will I just start selling with all this, knowing that this will happen? No. I allow price to dive into this point, tap it. I can't just start selling from there. So I have this PDR array here to see price, which price had to dip into it for a manipulation, then close back below it. You can see price close back below this. But before this happened, I was on my 5-minute time frame. What was I looking for on my 5? Because we're in a downtrend and I'm looking for sales. That was why I was here. So this is what happened, right? This is how I use my fair value gap. Sorry. So on this time when price was sweeping this zone, tap into this. What happened? We have this 5-minute fair value gap here. That price broke. Price closed below EFA. This was the first time that we might start retracing. Yes, I know I was actually expecting price to take out this high, but most of the time when there's something for price to take, liquidity, price will not give you all those retracement. Price will not waste time. That is another note that you must take note. Price will not waste time. So when price closed below there, it wicked into that fair value gap and use that strength to close below here and taking out this low right here. So this now made this a market structure shift. Already at this time, I'm just looking for a retracement into that zone. Now you can see that if I zoom in, you can see that we have this fair value gap, 5-minute fair value gap here also after this move. So now we have like this fair value gap right here. And price came back into that fair value gap. And also that fair value gap, I'm still seeing this is why I don't delete my charts, this thing. I'm still seeing 15-minute fair value gap there, 5-minute fair value gap here. So we have two confidence around there that we'll see price go down. So this first price came into that zone, rejected it. That's another sign that price wants to go down. When this candlestick was coming in, I was supposed to take a trade there, but I was just looking. I did not take the trade. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not take that trade. Do you get me? So these are the things where you just need to take your setup, no matter what. As you're seeing those setup, you just have to be taking them. That is how you become a good trader. It's not just waiting for the one that looks so super nice. There's nothing like super nice in this game. There's nothing like super nice. If you have checks, you have things that you check in terms of taking your trade. Once those things are happening, you just need to start taking your trades. So this one left without me, took out the liquidity and left. So I was on my 1 hour time frame the next day. I was on my 1 hour time frame the next day. And what was I seeing on my 1 hour time frame? Let's go down. So price had already moved like this. Left this 4 hour fair value gap and this daily fair value gap that I was telling you about, right? At that point, this leg have not come. Like price have not come to this leg. Now you can see the trade there. This is the leg that I was trading. You can watch the previous video when I was writing it. I was explaining what will happen before I took this trade. You can go and watch the previous video and you'll see it down there. So what happened for me to take that trade? After this push like this, right? I saw this 1 hour fair value gap. So if I want to see price give me a retracement, I was seeing this as a liquidity. That was the reason why I was owning this zone to see price draw into there. This was a liquidity. If you go to lower to your 15 minute, you see liquidity very clearly, right? So, but the first thing price did was to close, disrespect this bearish PDRA. So if price is disrespecting bearish PDRA, that means that is a sign that, okay, the sell side is now weak for the moment, not for the overall picture. The overall picture was still downtrend, but the sell side for now is now weak. Then I want to see price retrace up into here. So closing into there, I want to see price retrace into that fair value gap as a break and retest, like I said. Well, guess what was happening that was so beautiful? As price closed above it created a new bullish PDRA. So it disrespected the bearish one and respected the bullish one and closed this candlestick that closed here. Around that point, I went down to my 15 minutes time frame to start looking for how I'm going to ride that price into that zone. So what did I see on 15-minute time frame? Also, 15-minute time frame, there was this fair value gap here that price have disrespected, come back to retest it. Now, before I buy, this is what I also always tell you. I said this is my entry style. I want to see price take out the low, displays above, right? Leaves a fair value gap there, right? So if it leaves a fair value gap there, pricing come to this first one and it created another one. Why when it did not touch this one, then this will be a breakaway gap. Then I want to use this to go high. Now on this note, let's see if that is what happened around here. So right now, mind you, this 4 hour zone I've not drawn it there, so there was nothing yet. Let me just even delete it. So it was nothing, even this one, so I think it was nothing, it was not there. So this is how the chart was. All right. So on this note, when price broke all this candlestick right here, what did it do here? It swept this low, failed to displace, and I have this zone here. This is this is midnight open somewhere around here. Midnight open here. This was the midnight open. So I want to see the day start and trade against like trade below the midnight open and go up. So if I want to sell, then I want to be selling above the midnight open on New York session most of the time. So right now, price what move like this. You can see it left this fair value gap here. That was the first one. This was the second fair value gap. So that means if I want to buy, this is the second fair value gap that I want to start buying this market. Now you can check the video, you can see those trades. So one price dip into here, left this fair value gap, this second fair value gap here. I was there waiting for price to come. So when price dip into there, I was on my 5-minute time frame. That's when I dive into my 5-minute time frame. What was I looking for my 5 minutes time frame? The same thing. Like you need to understand that price is fractal. The same thing I was looking for, which is a sweep. A sweep. Let me just try to draw that out. Price was like this. This was the low, and this is the high. Sweep, break of structure, fair value gap. Did you see that? So on that note, I draw out that fair value gap down there. I want to see price come to that fair value gap, then go high. Right? Was it this fair value gap I entered this trade? Let's see my 1-minute time frame. This is the trade. I was just discussing something else. So on my 5-minute time frame, what was I seeing on my 5-minute time frame? You can see this right here. Price swept below. Sorry. This was a low. Price swept it and displays above it. What is that? That is what? A displacement. So I must wait for this count for price to break this, because this is the leg that took out this low. So it must be broken. So when price broke that around there, it left a fair value gap here. Now we can see this on 15 minutes clearly, I believe. So you can see what I was talking about. Price swept this low, displaced above. This is the displacement leg here. Displaced above, left this first fair value gap. Since it didn't come to touch this fair value gap and it created another one, then I'm using the second one. This is the breakaway gap. So I was here waiting for price to come back and tap into it and go. When I was about taking the trade, I made a video. I think I've posted the video. I think you should check it out. You will see it there. Right. So around, and I love drawing lines. I know my chart is now becoming raw, but just bear with me, please. Just bear with me. So before I take an entry now, what was I looking out for? On this point here, where I took this entry, I explained it on the video. I was on 1-minute time frame. So you can see how I came with the context of the higher time frame down to my 1-minute time frame to spots where I will be able to take out my entry. Right. So let's go on that and see that entry. So this was the entry right here. So this was the entry. What was I looking out for? If you look at the previous video, you're going to see it. I explained it. So I would just want to see price sweep this and go up. So, but as price is sweeping it, before I enter, I want to see price disrespect the things that was pushing price to the downside, which is this. Once this candle closed above it, I took my entry around that point. My stop loss below this zone right here. Then what was I targeting? I was targeting this liquidity that we have here. But you can see that on that day, price didn't get there. But what it tapped where I wanted to see price tap, which is this 4-hour fair value gap. When you get to that fair value gap, I took my profit, I left immediately. And the next thing, the price just went down. All right. So that was the first trade I got. And I think that was like on Thursday or so. That was on Thursday. Then on Friday, I had another opportunity to, you can see that what was happening right here was that I was just buying the market from that zone. So around that point, I knew price was going to go higher again because the next day, that was when this daily fair value gap now formed. Previous day high was now there. So even if we're going to go down, I know that we are supposed to take out the liquidity before going down to get that strength to be able to ride the price down. Now that price have come up here, what did price do here? The same thing, price keep repeating itself. Look at this. Let's look at this. This is a liquidity. That means I'm having another setup. I'll be looking out for another setup this week. I just want to see price rate. Now, the normal thing is that I want to see price go down here, but I'm not going to hold it down here. I'm just going to trade into this liquidity because price can come, take out the liquidity and go back up. Do you understand? So I just want to take my share of the cake and leave the market. Do you understand? For me, this is the safest way to trade. Do you understand? Just do what price will do at that moment because this price is not yet to you think you want to just be going for you to be taking money from the market. No, it's not built that way. Do you understand? So this was how on 1 hour time frame I spotted something else again. What did I see here? Price taking out this short-term low. So even if I want to see price give me like, do you see that this high have not been fully taken out, right? Then I want to see price take out this short-term low, which is what I have here, short-term low, and start maybe if it has to go up. Now we have this bearish sign here. So if price tap into this low and respect this one and break below, then I will know that we're not going up. We want to keep going down. But what did price do? Price closed above it. This candlestick. Already, this is a sign that for me that price wants to what reach for this high right here. Then on that note, I was in my 15-minute time frame. What was I saying on my 15-minute time frame? Price gave me what? A sweep, a market structure shift, the first fair value gap, the second fair value gap. So this is how I used to trade before. I want to see price drop down into discounts, and most of the time price will go without me. So my journal have told me to always take note of my breakaway gap. So I had to adjust my strategy. So now I waited for price to come back into then this. Let me just delete this so it doesn't look. All those things have not formed yet. On this note, that price was coming down here. Price played a prank with my head, right? Which is, what did they do? Do you see when this was the low I was paying attention to, right? That's why most of the times I don't like trading when there is no low resistance run. When there's no low resistance run, I don't like taking trades. So now price swept this, right? And all I wanted to see was price to close above this candle, this right here, right? On my lower time frame. I think I was on my 1 minute time frame. So that's why sometimes 1 minute time frame can be very risky if you are too like if you are forcing trades. One minute is not for you. If you are the kind of person that force trades, 1 minute is not for you. So what happened here? Let me delete this. My chart is becoming too rough. So this is what happened around this point. This candlestick that closes above here, right? And this candlestick that came to retrace back into here, I already took an entry around. Let me see, where did I take an entry? Was it? Yes, this retracement. Because why? I had this fair value gap here. You can see this tiny fair value gap. I had it here. Once price broke out this one, came back into it here. I took an entry here. Here. And where did I put my stop loss? My stop loss, I've not had my stop loss because 1 minute time frame, what I do on 1 minute time frame most of the time, I know there will be a lot of manipulation there. I'll just leave the stop loss. But firstly, I'll check the news if there's any news. There's no news, number one. You see this low? The only time I'll close the market is if price close below this. So I was watching price and see if price is going to close below this, and the next thing price failed to close. Once price close below this, I'll just close all my distance and I'll accept that loss around that point. But price failed to close below there, and price just starts moving back up. Moving back up. Do you understand? That's how I left that position. I just held it, and next thing price just went up. Once that manipulation is done, the next thing is just is food. This high price is going to take it out. As our price came up into this high, as it was just tapping it, I closed out all my position around there. I think you can see the video. Watch the previous video, you see those things right there. So that was the second entry on how I got that entry and how I derive on what price is doing right here. That was my entry, and I believe it was educative enough for you to take something out and implement it in your style of trading. Like, just try to do what price is actually currently doing. You don't want to put, you're gone are those days when you're trying to just put a zone here, you're waiting for price to come there, you're waiting, and finally price will come there and it's not going to respect that zone. Then all your wait is for nothing. So for me, what I advise, if you see a zone that price, okay, you're waiting to see price come to, just trade it. Just look for, just understand the way the market move and trade into those zones. Do you understand? So in case price does not respect it, at least you've gotten one trade already into that zone. So that's it. And thanks for your time. I know this video might be too long. I don't know. I don't know how to make short videos because there's a lot of things to talk about once I start talking about the forex market. All right. So thank you and God bless. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace out.